Hello, everybody. Welcome to Leadership Pathway. My name is Dave Miller. I'm the co-founder of leadershippathway.org, where we are helping churches find and support and develop and ultimately keep and hang on to young leaders for the local church. And I love these conversations. We're going to have a great one today with our esteemed guest, Dr. Susan Bauterse. How do you say it, Susan?
Good try. Yeah, in the family
Dr.
we all say
B.
it differently. Yeah, Dr. B.
Dr. B.
Dr. B.
For a long, long time, I've thought to myself, if we could do a panel discussion with maybe like a physician who went through a medical residency and also have on the panel someone who practiced medicine for a long time and then transitioned and became a pastor, and then maybe launched another person who launched an internship and another person who launched a school in their church. That would be a great panel discussion. And we get all of that in one person today with Susan. So welcome, Susan. I'm so glad you're here.
So good to be here.
I always have to give a shout out to John Norton Creative Services. I'll drop that in the show notes. He makes all of this possible. Susan, maybe, I don't know, 15 years ago, maybe more now that I think, I don't know how long ago it was. I got invited to go attend a little gathering about residency in churches. And this was early. This was like there was 12 Stone down in Atlanta. There was one out in Phoenix there was this many churches publicly doing something called residency. I was working at a little school trying to help churches do this. And so I go to Chicago, Loyola, and it's all about next generation. We probably were talking about millennials even still in that day. And in walks this guy, Dr. Gregory Ozark. And he was the head over all residencies at Loyola there in Chicago. And he stands up, and there's maybe 20 people in the room. It was kind of awkward. And he says, I don't know why I'm here today. I'm a good Catholic boy, but I was asked to talk about residency. And so he just launched into how they do it. And it was one of those talks that has stuck out in my mind for over 15 years. I grabbed 2 or 3 comments from him that I've run on. And over the years, when I can meet a doc, when I can talk to a physician, when I can meet someone who's come through medical residency and I ask them about it, and it's always helpful to hear their perspective. It's always helpful to get out of the world of church and internships and leaders and listen to a physician talk about what a residency is. And I've always thought if I could find a pastor who was also a physician, it would be so helpful to get perspective from this person. So that's what I want to talk to you today about. Susan is on staff at the church that I and my wife, Kristen, have attended. We walked in 4 years ago this week, I think. And we did what weird people do, which is we clicked the QR code or signed the card or whatever you don't do, but we did it the first week and we've not been anywhere else since up here in Tacoma, Washington. Susan is the spiritual formation pastor at my church. No one calls her Dr. Susan or Dr. B at my church. And in fact, I didn't even know till this past week that that's really a thing for her. Susan, tell us, I always love to start, tell us who Susan was, age 18 to 25. We go, because that's who we deal with every day. I was interviewing a 19-year-old before I clicked record to talk to you. This is my favorite era because what's going on tends to kind of set the pace in some people's life. So let's start there. Who were you? What were you doing between ages 18 and 25?
Yeah, great question. Well, I knew I wanted to go to 4-year college, had no idea what I wanted to do. Fell in love with sciences somewhere along the way and circled around them for so long because I didn't know how to integrate what I loved with a path forward. because I was in a family of musicians and artists. So I thought about nursing, and then I applied to nursing school, and I went to orientation. I was like, no, it's not that. I applied to health administration. I was like, cool, maybe it's that. And then I found out it was all business, and I was like, no, it's not that. And I didn't have a paradigm in my mind to do medicine.
So was this before you even wound up in undergrad? You were interviewing and talking, or you mean?
No, I was changing my major every year in undergrad. So I was like, oh, science education, oh, nursing, oh, computer science, all these other things.
Yeah.
And then I graduated. I was like, well, what do I have? What can I use? Oh, it's a biology degree. What am I going to do with that? I don't know. So I took a couple of years after college when I had applied to the hospital administration graduate program,
Okay.
and then dropped out during orientation because uh-oh, it's not that. And I worked in this lab that was a medical research lab, and I met physicians. This was in St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah, St. Louis has an awesome medical community.
Okay.
And I met women who were doctors, and they were normal, and they had some work-life rhythm and balance that I could, identify with. And yeah, I got to see a model of what it was that I actually wanted to do. So I applied to medical school when I was 24, 25, and went when I was 25, 26.
Oh, so you spent a couple of years then after undergrad working.
Yeah. Is that timeline right? So I graduated. Yeah. I applied when I was 24 and then started when I was 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then to med school. And where was med school?
Med school was in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at Medical College of Wisconsin.
Okay. So you show up there, and then what do you get after quickly? Where did you find your people? What was your thing?
Yeah, man, medical school is like a giant cohort of friends who just are in class, and then they go to lab, and then they go to the chancery to celebrate after the test. And, it's a pretty cohesive group. But within that, of course, there are groups. Met my husband to be in that group, which was fun. Yeah, it's great group of people. Great group of Christians that I got to hang out with too, which was cool. Yeah.
So you were a Christian at this time. You grew up in the church?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Grew up, in Oklahoma. Went to church. Family was, Christian family.
Christian family. Faith was real. Biology major. Lab work. He applied to med school. Did you ever think about not applying? Did you think maybe med school's not for me? What was the potential other path?
Yeah, good question. I couldn't find it. Okay. And so I kind of felt a little cornered into that. But I think there was fear around, gosh, would I follow through? Would I finish the thing? Because it's a long haul.
Were you a good student, undergrad?
I was a good student. I wasn't the best student, but I was a good student. And the research part, I actually was accepted into the MD PhD program in Milwaukee. And so that would have been a 7-year path with, outcome of both of those degrees. And I didn't deserve being able to be in that program, but was glad to be able to do that for the time that I did. I cut out of the PhD part after a few years. Okay. Because it just wasn't tickling the fancy. Yeah.
Okay. Explain to some of us who went to, a Bible college that's probably not in the top 1,000 schools in America. It's not a top 20 school. It's not in the top 1,000. I heard once there's 1,500 colleges. 1,500 colleges, is that right? 1,500, and 500 of them are in danger of going under, which mine, and another 500 are in danger, but they don't know it. I read that one in a consulting. So for those of us so med school is, you go into med school, how long were you anticipating being there?
How long would I be in medical school?
Yeah.
Or how long? Yeah. Typically it's a 4-year, 2 years in the classroom, 2 years, in the hospitals on a
Okay.
team,
Okay.
learning how to learn. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you did your 2 years and then you go out and you're going to be 2 years in a hospital?
Yeah. 2 years in a hospital as a medical student.
As a medical student.
Mm-hmm.
And they call you what? When you walk into that hospital, you're now 6 years. At this point, you're 6 years into education.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
right?
4 years of undergrad, 4 years of, or 2 years of, classroom time at medical school. Yeah. They call you student doctor.
Student doctor.
A student doctor, unless, sometimes the guys at the VA call you the ward secretary, but yeah.
So you walk in, you get your new white coat and your stethoscope comes out of the package and it's creepy. And you hang it around your neck. You get and what are you doing? First day.
Yeah.
You remember your first day?
Oh my gosh. I don't remember my first day, but I remember being a medical student on a team and being like, just even looking at a chart and trying to figure out the acronyms.
Okay.
Just things that don't make any sense. And the ways that you talk about patients there's no framework for. And so, man, it's a learning process and you get burned over and over and over and over and over again.
Tell me about that. What do you mean?
Yeah. Well, so your job as a medical student is sort of to go in and do the first interview with the patient.
Okay.
And maybe if you've been in a hospital, you've had a medical student come in and do this hour-long interview. And, you think you have it organized in your mind. You do a horrible presentation to your attending physician, and then they go in and find 9 things wrong with the stuff that you found out. And it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But you learn how to present, and you learn, the things that make people laugh when you say them out loud because it's so kind of off base or shows lack of understanding.
It strikes me in ministry world over here where I am and you are.
Yes.
We'll get to that part. Where, we call it calling. We call it, you can do this kind of moments. Don't give up. We're trying to help them not quit. We're trying to help them not get fired. It's like anything we can do to just get, we say this all the time. If we can just get through a couple of years, they're going to do this 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And then they'll be 4 or 5. Now we might get to our 30s, which is what we really need. So it's almost like we're doing everything we can to know when to push and when not.
Yeah.
But at least in my fantasy world of watching this process of you in a hospital, in this world of movies and TV shows, it's the opposite. Is it the opposite? Like your supervisors are like, if she quits, that means she shouldn't be here. Someone else can take her.
No,
they're trying to help you succeed.
Yeah. Those are great questions. By this time, it's not a weed out process. Sure, if there are people who are unhealthy, who shouldn't have been there, they'll come to the surface in some way. But it's not a weed out process. It's expected that medical students are going to go through this super clunky time where they're just learning. And so there's not there's a helpful sometimes pressured shaping of that by senior residents. So in the medical student, intern, first year of residency, residents of different, years past graduation, and then the attending physician. So medical students, the low person on totem pole. Okay. And it's just expected that they would need to figure out how to present. And part of the feedback that they get is live at the bedside every single morning. Mm-hmm. And it is a little face losing sometimes, but it's certainly motivating to improve. I wouldn't say it's as kind as the church world is, but I think sometimes the church world doesn't give feedback frequently enough or well enough or honestly enough.
We're in our 8th year. and before that, a few years working on this before Leadership Pathway even started, I would say the residents who now have a resident, they're like 27. They've been in full-time ministry 4 years. They actually have had it modeled to them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're projecting, of course, what they would have wanted, which isn't helpful, but still, they at least have had a glimpse of it. But most in ministry don't. They just got pushed or thrown in, or they jumped in cluelessly, and sometimes for not even healthy reasons, they made it. And they don't know how to give those developmental feedback bedside, to your point, in your world, bedside conversations. When it was embarrassing, was it just personally embarrassed? Like this person's talking to you one-on-one about how you screwed this up, or was it in a group setting and you're embarrassed in front of your friends? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I would say it's more in a group setting just for time's sake. There's not time set aside I'm going to sit down with this medical student or intern and give them one-on-one feedback. Okay. It's more like the attending physician, because you're there with everyone. The attending physician saying, cut to the chase, let's get to the point, and so you're a little flustered and figuring out how to do it live. But then to your colleagues, you say, gosh, that's not what he told me, the patient. Yeah. Right. So when you get burned, you have colleagues that you can kind of lament with for a moment, and then you get over it. It's just part of the process.
Did you think about quitting in that first year at all? This is too hard.
No, I loved it. I like high challenge kinds of situations. Not everyone does, but I think most people, because you've invested already a good number of years of study, and now you get to put it to practice. Yeah, and so it's kind of the fun part.
I've had attorneys say to me about their process when they go through law school. They can look around the room and they're like, that guy, that girl, they're not going to practice law. They don't have that thing. They're going to be a professor. But you can pick out the ones that are going to go move somewhere, hire people, build this thing. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I had, take off a bunch of zeros and lower it way down. I think about people I came 18 to 20 came through school with, thinking that person's gonna go do something amazing. Who knows? That person's probably not gonna. Did you sense that in some of those? Did you have scenarios like that going through med school? Like where you had it, you wondered if they did?
Yeah, I think some people stand out as unhealthy. Or they're there because mom or dad wanted them to be there. Yeah, or, they're there for the wrong reasons and they don't have compassion for patients. And sometimes you can carry that through a career and make a ton of money. If you're a surgeon or, someone who doesn't necessarily have a lot of, I don't want to undermine the surgeons at all, but yeah, there are certain specialty personality types that you would sort of stereotype as one way or another. But yeah, there were people in our classroom years that were not healthy. And, there were a couple that dropped out during those years and probably needed to. Yeah.
In that first year, how much walking the halls, doing that thing that we believe that you were doing, running the halls, bedside, working, you got your hands on things and hands on people. How much of were you still in books at all? Were you still studying and doing that sort of thing?
Yeah. So the patients become your classroom and you carry them through, a certain number of days when they're in the hospital or in the clinics, whatever. And those are your sources of study. So you go home and you read about the thing, and then you come back and if you ask a question at the bedside, the thing that the attending physician says is, "That's a great question. Why don't you give us a 5-minute presentation on that tomorrow?" So that's how that rolls. So you either learn how to not ask questions, or you do really well at presentations.
You eventually became a pediatrician, right? In your
Yes,
story.
right.
Were you in a pediatric? Did you start this first year? Were you in a pediatric hospital or?
No. Yeah. Okay. So in the student years, we rotate through all of the system hospitals and all the different kinds of subspecialties.
Okay.
I applied to pediatrics residencies because in my 4th year as a student, I was zooming in on pediatrics. I liked pediatrics. I had concerns about whether it would, be interesting enough. And so I did some away rotations at some pretty high caliber hospitals, DC Children's Hospital, Philadelphia, places like that, to see, what's it like in a highly academic, outside of our system pediatric program. Would I like it? Would I fit? Would I be prepared? And loved it. And so took that route.
Okay, tell us a story. Yeah. First time. There's got to be a first time for everything, right?
Oh gosh.
How do you do? And especially kids, it just seems like the first time.
Yeah.
Are your hands just? Yeah. Are you shaking and wondering, can I do this?
Oh, I do. I like the one that stands out to me is when I was on a nursery rotation at the county hospital. So my residency first couple of years was at Oakland Children's Hospital, Oakland, California.
Okay.
And I'm the only pediatric person in the house, in the nursery, as an intern. So first year that they call me doctor. And so any delivery that comes is my baby to take care of. Okay. And county hospital, this was, it was sort of the stereotype was there's not what you need at the bedside. If you have a baby that has airway problems and you need to put a tube down and help them breathe, or, just those things. And any consults or consultants are off-site. So yeah, there was a baby who was born who had a congenital heart defect that was severe. And, that was the worst nightmare. It was like, oh, I'm going to be on call for the first time overnight in this hospital by myself, and something horrible is going to happen. And sure enough, like, here was this baby who was born who had a really severe congenital heart defect, and was mine to manage and also get consultation on, and also have transported to a different facility over time. So yeah, that's crazy.
Okay. So really, you weren't ready.
No.
No. If you think about it, it's like you really aren't ready.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah, right. Because you have a phone.
You have a phone. You're standing there.
Yeah.
You may not be ready, but you're the one standing here.
That's right.
And you get to do it.
Yeah.
The second time you do it, the 50th time.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm assuming, like anything, does it become routine?
Yeah, I mean, there are always going to be things that are unexpected. Like, that's ministry or medicine. Yep. But yeah, I've managed this kind of thing before. I know what I don't know. I know when to ask for help. I know resources that I can find that will help me get, to a safe place for this person. Yeah.
Okay. So the pediatrics bug bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you went after that. You go through the, I forget what you called it, the thing in Philly, the rotation.
Yeah. Rotation, clinical rotation. Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah. So that was as a medical student. And then my internship and my first year out of medical school, the first year of residency, the internship was at Oakland Children's. Okay. Second year of residency was at Oakland Children's. And then we moved across country because my husband was military. So I did my third year of residency in the Philadelphia area.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, learning doing and then beginning to supervise. So interns are supervised, second year residents, the first year past internship begin to supervise others. Third year residents are chiefs who supervise the ward or the floor.
Some of us have watched Scrubs. We understand. John, what's his name? He eventually became. No, just admitted we watched that show. That's not good.
Yeah,
don't watch that show. That's not a good. But the concept is there.
Yeah.
So when you got into medicine, so how can you? We tell our stories. It sounds like it was a day, but it's like no, that was a decade. So can you just connect the dots to you are on staff at a church?
Yeah.
You're in Philly, your third year, and then we come back from commercial. You're a pastor in Washington. How does this happen?
Yeah. Wow. Well, so you're not asking about like the call to ministry. You're asking about like what's the overlap.
Yeah. However you would.
Yeah. Well, call to ministry. Let's take that for granted. It took several years. God's kind. It was a going to, not a leaving from. Because I really loved what I did.
Yeah.
So that was fun. The thing that has struck me so many times is how similar medicine is to ministry in so many ways. Gosh, medicine is very pastoral. Like you sit with somebody for a limited period of time. You're discerning. You're learning how to listen. You're learning how to take those nuggets that they really mean, even though the reason that they came is very different. And so pastoring, gosh, such an overlap, but also receiving feedback, being vulnerable.
Yeah.
Doing things that I don't know how to do because I know how to do them. I know how to learn how to do them.
Sure.
Like being willing to kind of like, okay, I'm on tonight. I don't know what's coming, but there's going to be a ton of stuff coming and somehow we'll figure this out together. Like that's huge. Understanding my place in the organization.
Yeah.
I'm not the attending.
Yeah.
I'm not the chief. I'm the intern, or I am the chief.
Right.
And now I have, and so like, how do I step into leadership when it's my turn and not shrink back? Yeah, that's interesting.
You said to me once, a resident, they can do everything the doctor does, or they are a doctor. I said, are they a doctor? Well, yeah, they're when do you become a doctor?
Yeah. You become a doctor when you graduate medical school and take your boards. Crazy. And then you're an intern who's never done anything really and owned it. So, yeah.
Well, this is why I go back to this talk at Loyola, and I've still got his slide deck. I still look at it.
Wow.
I've got the notes in the Evernote. And I'm sitting there. I remember texting someone, and I'm like, I'm listening to this guy talk from the hospital.
Yeah.
And if you just took out doctor and you put in pastor, and you took out medicine and you put in ministry, it is the same. So someone in their wisdom, when he said, "Who am I talking to?" They're like, "Don't worry about that. Just get up there and tell it, because they'll learn what they're going to hear is exactly." And it rocked. I mean, it rocked.
Yeah.
He talked about how many hours did you work, Susan? In the residency, in those things.
In those days. Yeah, it depended, of course, on what we were doing. Trauma call was every other night call in the hospital, more than 24 hours. If you got 8 hours of sleep to go home, that was the worst and also the best, such learning during that time. Things have changed, in terms of that. Probably a good thing. But easily, gosh, sometimes 80, 90, 100 hours a week.
So you're exhausted trying to remember how to spell that medicine you're going to prescribe. So you don't leave medicine, you just go towards ministry, is what I hear you say. On staff at a church somehow.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
How did that happen? Yeah. Somebody that I worked with as a volunteer. I was on the board and I was doing some volunteer things at a church. We had a new lead pastor come in. He was inspiring and ambitious, and we worked really well together. And he said, "Come, do it here." And so he, kind of threw the doors open wide and blazed a path for me to do what really hadn't been done in that church, as far as women in leadership.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking for that, but he invited me in ways that inspired me. And so, I took roles that I didn't know how to do and called a bunch of people across the country and said, like, "Hey, I'm stepping into this role. What do I need to read? What do I need to do? What would you suggest?" Found people who were smarter than me to help coach me along the way.
I listened to your story. You started by saying you wanted to go to a 4-year, like education was important.
Right.
Faith was important. You were Christian. Faith was important. So we started drawing circles.
Yeah.
Faith,
right.
Education, you found medicine, you found pediatrics. And if you look at like what you now, the last 5 to 10 years, what you've been involved with the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to pass this on. It's ironic, isn't it? It's like you could totally see if I said we need someone who can launch an internship that knows how to help young people learn something really complex, no matter what their education background is. Do they have bedside? Do they have this thing to meet people and listen? You're the perfect person to do it.
Thanks.
What are the similarities? Give me, I don't know, we didn't prepare for this. I sent you a bunch of notes and I've not even looked at them. Classic Dave. But if you said, here are the similarities.
Yeah.
Similarities. We talk about teaching churches. What's it mean? It means you got to have a Pastor Brian that's going to get the resources is committed to development more than excellence. I don't know how that works in the hospital world, because you really don't, what is failure? What is failure for a medical resident versus a middle school intern? All out might be a little different, right? But you still have to be committed to that.
Yeah.
To developing people, not just providing services. What are you seeing? Surely you have flashbacks.
Well, I mean, just like philosophically speaking, what are the similarities? If you want doctors, it's going to cost investment and people, personnel, time, patience. I mean, any nurse on the floors will tell you, "Oh, it's July 1st, the interns are coming." It's like, and it's the same around here. It's September 1st and the interns are coming, and the staff, ministry leads are like, "Oh my gosh, oh no," So it's great. But then, September, October, November, man, it gets to be a slog.
Sure.
Both for them and the ministry leads, the interns and ministry leads. And then January and February and March come and they're like, "Oh wow, we're doing stuff. We're beginning to hum."
Yeah.
And then, our year ends in May, and they're sad to see them go, because what am I going to do now? My intern is leaving.
Yeah.
It's a perpetual cycle of investment and if you want doctors, you have to invest. If you want ministry leaders who are formed, who have had people to model after, you have to invest in that as a church. You have to invest in that as a leadership, as a ministry leader. And so having patience while interns come in and learn how to be on time.
Right.
How to not sleep through their alarm. Like, we had interns who couldn't wake up.
Yeah.
And it wasn't very long before they learned how to wake up, figured out a system. or even learn for us, it was electronic medical record. Well, it wasn't, it was written medical records,
Right.
but now it's electronic medical records. How do we learn all the systems of planning center or pro presenter, or that takes time, and you learn it not because you've done a training, but because you're on the job doing the work, and you have to have somebody who's available next to you to be, answer your questions. It can't just be that you outsource them to some HR training thing.
Yeah.
You got to be with them. Yeah.
I think it's probably the last 2 years, just still grappling with this and how to form it. But it would be like at a small hospital, and the doctor who's already working hard.
Yes.
They're working hard.
Yes. And
then you hand them someone and now they have to talk about it, right?
That's right.
And sometimes life and death are really messing things, things up is on the line. But the same is true in ministry.
Yeah.
And I feel, this commitment to development, this commitment to being a teaching church.
That's right.
The senior person, that would be what? The hospital administrator is excited, loves it. But down here is where it's happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Senior pastors who love it, they love the lunch. They walk in and there's 5 or there's 25 sometimes, interns and they present the 3 steps of being a pastor, and they all start with the letter R, and then they leave. And then they think, man, I just love it that we're doing this.
Yeah.
But then the kids pastor at that campus, or the worship leader, and these people are like, I feel for them.
Yeah.
Surely you see this.
100%. Yeah.
When I talk to people like you, they spend as much time talking to the ministry leaders, helping the ministry leaders.
Yes. Well, and I'm learning too, like, what is it? How do I encourage our ministry leaders to have a development perspective and not, in medicine, the first year resident, the intern, is called a scut monkey. They're just like the gophers, and there's actually a little handbook. It's called the Scut Monkey's Handbook, and it has all the cheat sheet stuff in it, and you could easy reference. But they are kind of low person on the totem pole. Do the scut work, do the menial things. We can't inspire young people by primarily having them do menial things. We need to also include them in the bigger vision and the bigger aims of our ministries. So it's both. Like, we all do menial work in ministry. We all do administrative stuff that's mindless.
Yeah.
So how do we inspire humility and also hold vision for them? Yeah.
I bet you met some physicians. We all have. We've met some physicians who listen well.
Yeah.
They ask questions. They look you in the eye. They actually have empathy for you. And others that don't.
Yeah.
Others that don't. Maybe they're making equal money. Maybe they have equal status even.
Yeah.
But that soft skill piece seems to be everything, doesn't it? I'm assuming in medicine, culturally, what's gone on with soft skills and mental wellness or lack thereof, this has to be affecting the pipeline of physician. Are you in tune with any of that?
Yeah. In fact, we have 3 kids. 2 of them have gone the medical route, and one just finished her residency. So it was interesting to see her wrap up of her residency and the emphasis on well-being, on support, on treating patients and advocating for them. Like, I feel like they've come a long way since I was in school, and there weren't those systems in place, and there wasn't that conversation beyond kind of teachings that a gallbladder doesn't walk into your office, a patient walks into your office. So, thinking about the patient in a holistic way rather than in kind of the problem-oriented sort of deal. So soft skills, communication,
Yeah.
empathy,
Yeah.
time management, self-care.
Yeah.
All of those things are huge in training now.
What have you learned? You're in your 4th year of interns in the school, right? Is this year 4?
We're entering year 4. Yeah.
Entering year 4. What have you already, like, I feel like we, in my mind anyway, we build a construct in our mind of what's real, and then we learn what's not. And we take a baseball bat to that and we build another.
Yeah.
And what have you already learned that you've overcome and maybe in your earliest thinking of starting this thing?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the pipeline is longer and has turns that we can't predict.
It's so good.
The person that is, oh my gosh, I can't believe we got that intern. We are so pumped, so stoked.
Yeah.
And it just turns out differently for them in some ways than the quiet one whose gifts haven't had a chance to come up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's the most inspiring thing. And so, we've got a couple of interns who were with us last year, and they're gonna return, because we saw gifts in them begin to emerge that they didn't know about, that we didn't know about, and we're like, hey, not that area, but this area. Will you come and join us in this area this coming year?
Yeah.
And that's like, oh, that's fanning into flame a call to ministry and making room for who they are as individuals.
Sure.
I love that. And then, some of the people that we had thought would work out great in one area and just wasn't meant to be for a variety of reasons. Yeah.
I mean, it's part. I mean, there's just so much of it you're not in control of.
Right.
Is that true in the medical world? Like I'm thinking of the ministry leader, positive and negative, what they bring with it. And this resident, positive and negative, what they.
Yeah.
And then the life of what's going on in that church. If the pastor resigns, it's going to be a different kind of fall and spring season, right?
That's
right. If the church launches a capital campaign and wants to build it's going to be a different kind of season in the life. Right. I'm assuming this is true in medical as well. Like who's the attending and their personality and just positive and negative, what they bring to it. They're going to match up with some residents really well.
That's right.
And some they're not. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I think the stereotypical personality of a field, the things you get to do are either more cerebral or more manual or more simple family relational. Those kinds of things are going to be part of that. But it's like a teacher, your favorite teacher in elementary school. Like, I want to be like that person. Or in high school, like, wow, I never thought I'd, run track, but because of that person, I'm willing to give it a go. So we get inspired by the people that we're with. And that's true in ministry. Interns who are checking out our program oftentimes identify a person that they're drawn to, that they'd like to work with as much as the ministry area that they're drawn to. Yeah.
What do you miss about practicing medicine?
I thought I would miss it so much. I thought I would miss this kind of conversation. My favorite size space is one-on-one or one-on-two. And in pediatrics, that's what you get. You get the kid, you get on the mom's lap or dad's lap, and you get that. Or you get the adolescent who comes in for a sore throat but really wants to know if they could possibly be pregnant. So I thought that I would miss out on those conversations, and I haven't, because I get to still have them.
Yeah.
I don't miss it, but I keep my license on purpose because it's a tool that I can use if I choose to do something overseas. If it's always good to have, and it's hard fought. So yeah, I'd love to do something international with that at some point.
Those of us that have only done ministry, I've been paid to go to church since I was 19 in one way or now. I don't think, I mean, I am quick to say I was in ministry 13 years and I've been out of it. I mean, what I do now is not, it's not legally or technically ministry. So we're quitters and y'all aren't is my number one thing I say these days. But which is harder?
Oh gosh, ministry by far. 100%.
Well, then why doesn't CBS have a dozen shows? It's always Chicago hospitals. It's never Chicago mega churches. You don't see them running down the halls of Saddleback, and then they go to commercial and you come back and see if the middle school kids made it or not.
Well, gosh, you should pitch that idea to somebody. I don't know.
It sounds awful.
It's like in medicine, the appointments are limited and the people go away. In ministry, they stay.
Yeah.
And so you have to learn how to figure it out. Like you're in a context that is your team and it is your church. And the body of Christ is, because I'm in it, it's imperfect, right?
Yeah. When we were living in Denver, this just popped in my head. We were living in Denver and we did, what's the huge insurance? Dang it, just slipped my mind. Kaiser Permanente.
Oh, yeah.
Sign up and you walk up and you're on the app. And of course, they want you to do it on the app. And I'm scrolling. Here are my physician choices, right?
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, he looks interesting. And I picked it. And he's like from Uganda or something.
Right.
And in his accent, which was just amazing, of course. And he's like, we go through the first thing and I had an ear infection or something. So he gets it all done. He's like, hey, before you leave, can I ask you one more? I'm like, yeah, we're just getting to know each other. Why'd you pick me? And in that moment, I just thought that was an interesting, and I'm sure race and all sorts of things were in his mind, like who his normal new patient is versus me. I'm sure that was part of it. I didn't ask that. I didn't feel like that was appropriate. But I thought about that as it relates into what we do all the time and how this person you're going to learn from and how you get matched or sometimes we pick, sometimes we don't. There's the physician, there's the hospital, there's the geography of all of it. What's the specialty of that place? What's the DNA? What would you say in a hospital? Like, what's their focus? Yep. What's it like to be there?
Right.
All of that. And then why we get matched with certain bosses and why we don't. It's kind of a crapshoot, isn't it, Susan?
Well, it is. And you never know if, as you're coming in as an intern, is this going to be one of those learning experiences through adversity?
Yeah.
Or is it going to be because there's synergy and there's resonance here that is going to make my heart sing? Both are helpful and important. And we definitely get both of those in every kind of a training situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay. Check this out. This is an author. Who's the Next You? It says not for resale because it's an author copy. This is our little book. It's not little. It's going to be out in September. But if you're still watching, this just popped in my head. You send me an email, dave@leadershippathway.org. Subject line. Dr. Susan, and give me where to mail the book. You'll get the first copy. I'll see who's still watching. What are we, 45, 50 minutes in? That's my little offer for today. This has been great, Susan.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here.
Super fun. Thank you. How
can we find, if we know someone who ought to go to Tacoma and be an intern, where do they go? Anchorchurch.org.
Anchor Tacoma. Anchortacoma.org.
Anchor Tacoma.
And on there, you'll see our school, you'll see our internship, and those overlap but are not identical. So
yeah,
love to hear from you.
This stuff isn't easy. Thanks for your commitment to it. And
Thanks.
I believe someone's going to apply. They're going to move up here. They're going to do it. They're going to come out as ready as they can be for ministry. They're going to impact some family, some kid. The kingdom's going to come in that house. People's lives will be changed forever.
Love it.
It'll be changed forever. At the moment they're applying to your internship or school, it feels pretty random. I'll either be an astronaut or I'll be a youth pastor. Click. 7 years later, eternity has changed. I see that.
Yeah.
I see that. So thanks for doing that.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks for what you do. Love it. Love it so much.
Right on. Okay, everybody. Till next time. Thanks for being here. See you.